Welcome and thank you for attending today's Technical Assistance webinar. The webinar is presented by Amity Foundation, acting as the third-party administrator for LA County's Justice, Care, and Opportunities Department and the CFCI Care Grants. The CFCI, or Care First Community Investment Grants, are the result of Ballot Measure J voted in by LA County residents in 2020. Care First community investment funds are intended to be invested directly into communities and alternatives to incarceration that address negative outcomes caused by racially driven criminal legal system inequities and long-term economic disinvestment. Today's webinar is being recorded. You do not have to be on camera. Understand that if you are on camera, your image may be captured in the recording. Staying on the webinar represents your consent to being recorded. Please take note of the following legal disclaimer. The material presented does not constitute legal advice and is only intended to provide information. Organizations and individuals should independently verify that any information presented is appropriate or applicable before acting on it. Next slide, please. Centering community. I'd like to introduce you to today's presenter. Mina, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. My name is Mina Carrion. I am the Training and Technical Assistance Coordinator here at Amity. I'm so happy to be here with you today.
Thank you so much. I'm Rebecca Gray, the Grant Administrator for Amity's TPA. I will be running the chat. We do ask that you drop your questions, any questions you have about today's presentation in the chat. And after the presentation, we'll answer any questions that come up. If we're unable to answer questions, we will research the answer needed and get back to you. At Amity, we incorporate teachings that center the community before we begin our work. Today, we will use the LA County Land Acknowledgement to recognize the price paid by individuals that has resulted in efforts such as Care First Community Investment. We recognize that we occupy land originally and still inhabited and cared for by the Tongva, Tataviam, Serrano, Kish, and Chumash peoples. We honor and pay respect to their elders and descendants. We acknowledge that settler colonization resulted in the genocide of the first peoples. This acknowledgement demonstrates our responsibility and commitment to truth, healing, and reconciliation, and to elevating the stories, culture, and community of the original inhabitants of LA County. Next slide.
All right, everyone. So today's webinar is going to be about managing mental health in the workplace. So if you are available, free, and have thoughts, please, in the chat, what does a psychologically healthy workplace look like, sound like, or feel like to you? We would love to hear your thoughts on your current one, your past ones. Please don't name drop anyone, but what does the healthy one sound like? Let us know your thoughts. Mental health at a workplace is crucial, with stress and burnout becoming increasingly common. To achieve a healthy work-life balance, prioritize self-care, set boundaries, and manage workload effectively. Encourage open communication, offer flexibility, and provide resources like counseling. By implementing these practices, employers can maintain mental well-being and productivity. With over 50% of our waking hours spent at work, it's not incorrect to say that a professional environment directly impacts one's mental health. The need for a mentally safe and healthy workplace extends far beyond the individual requirements of an employee. The focus on implementing a proactive and preventative approach to ensure mental well-being in the workplace is essential for maintaining a healthy and productive work environment. A positive environment drives productivity, creativity, and contributes to greater organizational advancement. For managers, work-life balance can often be confused with flexible work. Flexibility simply means that people have the chance or the freedom to choose when and where work gets done. However, a flexible workplace can still be high intensity and lacking in work-life balance. So, some of the comments inside the chat say, is where you feel comfortable speaking up if you fear something is wrong, respecting employees. Sunday nights are not extremely depressing. So a lot of self-care, which we love to hear, especially in May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. So, for many of us, work is a major part of our lives. It is where we spend much of our time, where we get our income, and often where we make our friends. Having a fulfilling job can be good for your mental health and general well-being. We all have times when life gets on top of us. Sometimes that's work related, like deadlines or travel. Sometimes it's something else, our health, our relationships, or our circumstances. It's vital that we protect that value by addressing mental health at work for those with existing issues, for those at risk, and for the workforce as a whole. A toxic work environment can be corrosive to our mental health. We believe in workplaces where everyone can thrive. We also believe in the role of employers, employees, and businesses in creating thriving communities. Good mental health at work and good management go hand in hand. And there is a strong evidence that workplaces with high levels of mental well-being for our for mental well-being are more productive. Addressing well-being at work increases productivity by as much as 12%. So, what is mental health? Mental health is the way we think and feel and our ability to deal with the ups and downs of life. Mental health is something we all have. When we enjoy good mental health, we have a sense of purpose and direction, the energy to do things that we want to do, and the ability to deal with the challenges that happen in our lives. When we think about our physical health, we know that there's a place for keeping ourselves fit and a place for keeping appropriate help as early as possible so we can do better. Mental health is just the same. If you enjoy good mental health, you can make the most of your potential. You can cope with what life throws at you. You can play a full part in your relationships, your workplace, and your community. Our mental health doesn't always stay the same, however. It can really fluctuate as circumstances change and as you move through different stages in your life. Distress is a word used to describe times when a person isn't coping for whatever reason. It could be something at home, the pressure of work, or the start of a mental health problem like depression. When we feel distressed, we need a compassionate human response. The earlier we are able to recognize when something isn't quite right, the earlier we can get that support. So why work matters for our mental health? So like I stated before, we do spend a lot of time at work. Workplaces present an important forum to identify and support existing mental health needs. Work can be a very positive environment for our mental health, and poor working conditions and quality of work additional risk factors for mental health. And why does mental health matter for work? So it can really add to our stress, the chronic fatigue, the burnouts, the negative impact on our job satisfaction. We could have negative impact on productivity and health of the organization, and the costs of poor mental health for individuals. So it can be very costly. So the psychosocial risk factors. So understanding stresses and its risks. So work-related stress. So when we have work-related stress, it's harmful physically and emotionally, and it can cause an imbalance between our perceived demands and the perceived resources and abilities of individuals to cope with those demands. For instance, um, the dynamic interaction between an individual and the environment. The hazards and risks. So, those are the aspects of the design and management of work and its social and organizational contexts, which have the potential for causing psychological or physical harm. So, here's a graph of how each one can relate. So, why don't people talk about mental health? We often question this with our colleagues, with our friends, with our family. And although awareness of mental health is increasing, we still face a world where people with mental health problems face discrimination and can face challenges getting the help they need. Many people who experience distress try to keep their feelings hidden because they're afraid of other people's responses. Fear of discrimination and feelings of shame are among the top reasons people give for not telling their colleagues or family about their mental health problems. When we create workplace cultures where people can be themselves, it is easier for people to speak about their mental health concerns without fear and easier for them to reach out for help when they need it. Even so, the decision to disclose distress at work is not one people take lightly. It is vital that workplaces become environments where people feel safe to be themselves. So how to support a mentally healthy workplace? So definitely create a culture of openness, make an organizational commitment, find ways of measuring the mental health and well-being, train your employees, and consider reasonable adjustments for your staff. So, talking about mental health can seem very daunting, but we've all had conversations with people about bereavements, breakups, other life events, and they don't always start easily, but they often mean a lot to the person having a tough time. It all starts with asking someone how they are doing in a warm and authentic way, giving them a chance to realize that you are being sincere and friendly. So, more graphics on how to promote mental health in the workplace. So, we're going to cover a little bit about burnout because, as you all know, in our fields, burnout is very common. And burnout is included actually in the International Classification of Diseases as an occupational phenomenon. Although it's not classified as a medical condition, it is described as factors influencing health status or contact with health services, which can include reasons for which people contact health services, but that are not classified as illnesses or health conditions. So burnout can take a very big toll on employees. So common causes of burnouts. So, an inability to influence decisions that affect your job, such as your schedule, assignments, or workload. It could lead to job burnout. So, could a lack of resources that you need to do your work. If you just feel everything on the weight of your shoulders, it's causing you to have some burnout. If you're unclear about the degree of authority you have or what your supervisor or others expect from you, you're not likely to feel comfortable at work. Perhaps you work with an office bully, or you feel undermined by colleagues, or your boss micromanages your work. This can contribute to job stress. When a job is monotonous or chaotic, you need constant energy to remain focused, which can lead to fatigue and job burnout as well. If you feel isolated at work and in your personal life, you may feel more stressed. And if your work takes up so much time and effort that you don't have the energy to spend time with your family and friends, you might burn out quickly. So, the warning signs of burnout. So, chronic exhaustion, you find yourself lacking energy and feeling tired often. You may go to bed early, but still wake up really tired. You may move slowly and find that you need extra time to get ready and get out the door. At its worst, your fatigue becomes a physical and psychological state of exhaustion. You just always feel drained. Isolation. Isolation may start out as a mild resistance to socializing, such as not wanting to go out to lunch with a coworker or a friend. But as burnout worsens, you may begin to feel more and more like being alone. Colleagues dropping by to say hello may become an annoyance, and you might find yourself closing your door to keep people out. You make excuses not to go out to lunch, and in the most severe cases, you just get angry and you may lock your door to keep people away. Detachment, you may feel so overwhelmed that you actually shut down. So, a general sense of feeling disconnected from others and from your environment. This can take the form of the isolation behaviors as I described before. In some situations, it may come across as anger towards others, but it actually can take form of detaching yourself emotionally and physically from your job and your responsibilities. For example, you may start calling in sick more often, missing appointments, being chronically late, or not returning calls or emails. The loss of productivity. So, despite long work hours, the symptoms of burnout prevent you from being able to produce the way you used to, which results in incomplete projects and a stack of work that just keeps piling up. It often feels like the harder you work, the more ground you lose. And try as you might, you just can't climb out from underneath the pile. And avoidance. So if your phone rings, your emails are going off, and you're just like, I'm not answering it. You see that your message light is beeping and you ignore it. Your alarm clock goes off and you think of all the reasons that you can't go into work that day. You may have a sense of dread that you will be faced with more bad news or horrible experiences at work. So, definitely, if you feel that you will be met at the door with problems and no solutions, it's definitely a warning sign. Boundaries. So, boundaries are very important, especially in our line of work. You spend more time at work, take your work home, give up outside work activities to get to work earlier, leave later. You make executive decisions that may intrude on the desires of others because you believe that's more efficient than asking someone's opinion. So you definitely take it personally when a project fails. And then anger, because burnout often feels like failure and experience of a lot of guilt, it's not uncommon for these feelings to turn into anger and resentment as the stress continues. So, at first, your anger may take the form of interpersonal tension with your colleagues, your family, your friends, because as burnout grows, it starts to leave your workplace and starts to affect your home life as well. Your anger may intensify and result in angry outbursts and serious arguments at home and in the workplace. And um, diminish self-care. So definitely not caring for yourself, being not, not doing the things that you like. And survival coping. Instead of going to that happy hour once a week, it becomes a daily ritual on the way home. So, 10 signs that you are stressed. So, you're so tired that you now answer the phone with something else outside of hello. Starbucks is listed as your emergency contact or other caffeinated areas. You wake up to discover your bed is on fire, but you go back to sleep because you just don't care. You have so much on your mind, you forget to go to the bathroom unless it's on your schedule. You need a vacation so badly, you've contemplated plotting your own kidnapping. You consider Red Bull a part of your balanced diet. Your muscles are so tense, you're convinced you were the Tin Man in a previous life. Your partner threatens to throw your iPhone out of the window after you answer a work call or email for the 10th time during your date. Your best friends think you have moved away because they have not heard from you in so long. And you fall asleep during trips to the dentist office because it's the only time you can put your feet up. So if you are in any of these categories, you are too stressed. So the impact of burnout. So again, physical, mental, occupational. So you get headaches if you're filled with anxiety, insomnia, depression, job dissatisfaction. Those are signs of burnout. So those are the impacts of being burnt out. So, steps to stress reduction. So, addressing the workplace concerns. So, discuss specific concerns with your supervisor. During those weekly one-on-ones, have a space in that meeting of how you can alleviate how you feel at work. Maybe you can work together to change expectations or reach compromises or solutions. Try to set goals for what must get done and what can wait. Whether you reach out to coworkers, your supervisor, support, collaboration might help you cope. If you have access to an employee assistance program, take advantage of relevant services. Even in some jobs, you can often focus on how your role helps others, for example, or provides a much needed product or service. Focus on aspects of the job that you do enjoy, even if it's just chatting with your coworkers at lunch. Changing your attitude towards your job can help you regain a sense of purpose and control. If burnout seems inevitable, try to take a complete break from work. Turn off your phone, put it on do not disturb, go on vacation, use up your sick days, ask for a temporary leave of absence, anything to remove yourself from the situation. Use the time away to recharge your batteries and pursue other methods of recovery. Don't overextend yourself. Learn how to say no, especially to requests on your time. If you find this difficult, remind yourself that saying no allows you to say yes to the commitments you want to take. And set a time each day when you completely disconnect. Put away your laptop, your phone, stop checking email, especially if you work from home. Designating the space in your home that is strictly for work and not bringing your computer in every single space of your home. So stress and productivity at work. So as the graph shows, the comfort area is really in that middle section. Once you start getting in other areas, it goes off the charts. So for all of our managers, directors, leadership teams that are on this call, these next slides are for you. So please ensure that mental well-being in the workplace and have a good work-life balance for your employees. It's important to adopt safe practices that promote a positive environment and support employees' mental health needs. So some strategies are providing a safe space for your employees. Create that environment where employees feel safe and comfortable to really express their thoughts and feelings. Encourage an open door policy where they feel comfortable to communicate with you and seek help if needed. Set boundaries. So help your employees manage their workloads effectively and avoid burnout by setting clear boundaries between work and personal life. Encourage them to take their breaks and to prioritize self-care. Those 10-minute breaks, 15-minute breaks are really important outside of the lunchtime. Offer stress management resources. So provide access to resources such as counseling services, the EAP programs that I mentioned before, workshops on stress management. The resources can help employees cope with stress and improve their mental well-being, even a handy stress ball. Invest in training and development. So focus on building resilience and inclusivity within your staff and the workplace. This really can help employees develop the skills they need to cope with challenges and really thrive in their roles. Lead by example. Managers As managers, you should be modeling the behavior they want to see that you want to see in your employees by promoting healthy working habits and prioritizing mental health. Managers can definitely create a positive work environment and enhance company policies. Review and update company policies to support mental health, such as flexible work hours, burnout breaks, recognition programs. These policies can help employees feel valued and supported in their roles. So, employers can make mental wellness a priority by dedicating organizational leadership and expanding resources for employees. So, organizational leadership, about 3/4 of employees or employers surveyed report that they have appointed a mental health leader, with a smaller subset appointing leaders in executive roles. So, leaders' responsibilities may include monitoring employee well-being and mental health needs, examining benefits and ensuring access to treatment, and overseeing mental health-related workplace programs. So, bring in your staff so that you can get their inputs, as well as expanding resources. So, a majority of employers report that they plan to invest in mental health resources by starting, continuing, or expanding benefits, and that the most common reasons reported for expanding the support, especially in a post-pandemic world, is so that they promote employee productivity, increase satisfaction, and attract and bring in new talent. The most common reasons reported for reducing or stopping support can be cost. However, um, making sure that the safety and well-being of your employees is very beneficial. So, there are several points of disconnect between employer and employee perspectives on workplace mental health. So, the National McKinsey and Company Survey findings revealed different perspectives between employers and employees across three areas: level of employer support for mental health, employee access to mental illness and substance use disorder treatment, and workplace stigma. So, the level of shame, prejudice, or discrimination toward people with mental illness and substance use disorders perceived in the workplace. So, employers that want to support mental health can consider the following questions as a starting point. So, in those weekly one-on-ones, or doing it once a month, just asking certain questions like the ones on your screen. How does your organization make it clear that mental health is a top priority? How are you getting employee feedback about mental health supports? How do you support and celebrate recovery? These are things that you should be thinking about with your employees, you as a leader, whichever one. And how wellness champions can create a supportive work environment. So, again, lead by example, model a healthy work life balance, lead with empathy. So, practice active listening, check in with your team, help employees find the purpose in their work, and lead inclusivity. So, be mindful of biases, seek out diverse perspectives, and have conversations about stigma and mental health. So again, signs of stress at work. So high staff turnover, more reports of stress, arguments, more sickness absence, decreased performance, and complaints or grievances. So understanding the stress response. So although stress is normal, it is definitely our body's response to help us prepare for challenges. In today's world, we face many situations that can trigger our stress response. We definitely need to make sure that we turn off, recover whenever possible, especially when we are at home and off the clock. Too much stress can be harmful and can definitely lead to burnout. In small doses, experiencing stress can help you perform, but in the long term,
Easy money.
it is creating harm. And finally, workplace processes and systems can support minimizing, managing, and recovering from stress. Alrighty. Are there any questions? And thank you for your time.
Thank you so much, everybody. The only question I see, Mina, that I found so far is, can you please provide the graphics at the
Yeah,
end
of
for printout in our
course.
offices?
Yeah, so definitely the graphics from this presentation will be, let me stop sharing, will definitely be on our resource page. So our website, Amity and You, the link will be in our bulletin that is being sent out to all of you today. It will be on there and the graphics will be in there for sure.
This is a great one and probably something we might be able to come back to. Are there any recommended policies we can add to our employee handbook? Do we have resources for policies and procedures?
We could definitely send that out. Give us some time to round them up and we could definitely send them out to the group. And this recording will also be on our website within the week.
And in the spirit of sharing resources, if anybody else has an idea about, has policies and procedures that work for them, that you are able to, like within the parameters of your legal requirements, but if anybody has anything they want to share, I saw an organization previously in the chat talking about how they, like some of the programming that they offer that specifically addresses these things, the School to Success Bethel Academy Center. And I'm sure many of the organizations offering services here have programming, maybe policies and procedures around these issues. I was thinking, Mina, as you were presenting, that a lot of these things, some of them are common sense, and some of them feel like ideals that we reach for, things that might be difficult to put into practice, but definitely sort of the, as work becomes healthier, the ideals that we reach for, right?
Yes, definitely. Well, if there's no other questions, thank you so much, everyone, for coming on here today. Next week, we will have meditation with Rebecca on Wednesday at 2 p.m., just like always. Thank you so much for attending, and we will see you all very soon. Bye.
Thank you, Mina. You're amazing.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Happy hump day.
All right.